Okay, so normally I don't do this kind of content, right? Well, I'm talking about two women, but this feud has been so long ongoing, so frustrating, so annoying that I had to look back to think how and why this even happened. Now, if it's no secret that I have no love for Cardi B. I think she's one of the worst things that's ever happened in hip hop, and she's a horrible example for Black Dominican women or Puerto Rican women in general, women of color. I think she's a horrible person that does not deserve the platform that she has, and it's pretty obvious that her antics are being pushed out so it'll be normalized to our communities, right? I think we can all agree on that. Now, here's the thing. I, I'm not a big fan of Nicki Minaj either. Um, I'm just not. So here's the thing about Nicki Minaj. I think she's extremely overrated. I think from what I've seen of her in her music, the only thing that makes her stands out that she put long emphasis on certain words and she has really big eyes. Other than that, I'm just like, okay, she's a average rapper, but at least she's an average rapper. Cardi B is just not a rapper at all. So Cardi B belongs in jail, but that's another conversation in itself. But I was just kind of curious, when did this start? Because these two women have been going at each other for almost 10 years now. I think it started back in 2017. So you mean to tell me that two women who are both from Trinidad, they're island women, it's an island women fight, can't find common ground and get along? You see, a lot of times people from the islands and other countries talk so bad about Black Americans. And Cardi B has said her fair share about Black women in general. And let's not pretend she hasn't. But your own kin from your own island, or you have connections to the same island, y'all can't find common ground to get along. Y'all can't break bread or plantains, whatever you want to do or eat. I don't care. Y'all can't do anything but fight and beef over something that doesn't even matter. So, just from my point of view, and from what I remember this feud starting. Well, I wouldn't say starting. I remember way back in the day when Cardi B and Nicki Minaj was at Fashion Week. And I want to say it was around 2018 because I remember it was around the virus era. And they got into a fight. Well, I don't think they really got into a fight. They got into a confrontation, and Cardi came out with a big lump over her eye. Nicki was fine. Now, you would think that would make Cardi just be like, you know what, maybe I should chill out. I got a bit of lump over my eye. Let me just sit down and reflect. But no, it's still going. They're both high-tempered, unreasonable individuals, and neither one of them have a man in the house to help guide them or somebody older to guide them and be like, you know what? Y'all just need to calm down. Pretty much, they need somebody to tell them to sit down and shut up. Now, whenever they're getting ready to get into their phone and tweet something ridiculous, there needs to be somebody there to grab their phone out of their hands and say, no, you're not doing this. Look at the long picture. So, I'm kind of tired, y'all. I'm sorry. So, let's see here. I made some notes. All right, supposedly this all started with a Migos single called Motorsport. And that Nicki Minaj changed her verse in Motorsport to pretty much diss or insult Cardi B, right? Um, it was just a verse. But supposedly that's where all the conflict started. So you mean all this started over a verse, over a song that wasn't even theirs? But here's the thing I find even more interesting. The way these two women are fighting, they're fighting like they're fighting over a man. Like either Nicki stole Cardi's man or Cardi stole Nicki man. It seems like something more like that. It seems more personal. I find it very hard to believe that two women, two grown women, can keep a feud going for 7 years. Now, I didn't realize that Nicki Minaj is older than me. I guess because it's the way she acts and carry herself. But I didn't know she's like 42. I was very surprised about that. I was like, oh, okay. Now, Cardi, she's what, 32, 33, something like that. Yeah, and look, they just need to sit down and relax. But then the Fashion Week thing happened. You know, Cardi threw a shoe. Nicki security guards got involved. Cardi left with a when I say a black eye, a lump over the eye. And then they got the kids involved. They got into the social media warfare, talking about each other's kids and parenting and all this other kind of stuff. Now, look, like I said, there is plenty of talk about Nicki Minaj, especially her choice of husband. There is plenty of talk about Cardi B, especially her choices in men and the guy she's with now. But normally, you keep the kids out of it. I don't know if that's an island thing, but normally here in the States, we keep the kids out of it. We don't sit here and talk about each other's kids. That's just like an unwritten rule, a law, a line that we just don't say too much. Like if I'm going at somebody, I don't ever think to talk about their kids. Now, if their kids are like teenagers and they're just doing wrong, sure. But if they're like, you know, not even in elementary or maybe in elementary school, that's too young to say anything about anybody, right? Let me go ahead and make a comment right here. I didn't even make a comment. Like I said, I'm kind of tired.
We finally got that second autopsy for Trey.
Ignore that. That was from a different video. So I just went on TikTok and was looking at this whole entire Nicki and Cardi thing. And let's see here. She's kind of talking about it.
I tried to tell y'all to stop listening to these secular artists. Quavo, was it worth it, dummy? No career? Takeoff going? Just in case y'all might not know what she's talking about, let me show y'all. Quavo and Takeoff did a music video called Messy. And in the beginning of the music video, they were waking up after having a bad dream. And the music video is their bad dream. Y'all peep the Halloween decorations. So one of the scenes in the music video is a gambling table that turns into a fight. Side note, as a creative director myself, every music video is planned months in advance, and every prop you see is intentional. In another scene, Quavo's on the bed holding a gun and a contract. Y'all, these props have nothing to do with the lyrics or the music video. Had to get a close-up, so y'all know I'm not bluffing. Then lastly, there's a scene with Takeoff standing next to a rest in peace sign with the Grim Reaper. Everything is intentional. So let's put this all together. Takeoff was murdered Halloween night, the most demonic night of the year, over a dice game that turned into a fight. And I know it says November 1st. He was killed at 2:30 a.m. Halloween night, which is really November 1st. But y'all get the gist. It's too much connecting the dots for this.
Okay, not really talking too much about that. Let's see what this person says.
While all of us were sound asleep last night, these two were going back and forth on Twitter all fucking night. We need to talk about what happened. As of the last few days, Cardi B has been celebrating the success of her latest album, Am I the Drama? This was one of the screenshots that she posted to Instagram that says that she is the first female rapper in history to debut her first 2 albums, so in a row, on the Billboard 200 as the #1 album. This is another screenshot.
I heard those songs. They suck. It's clearly industry pushed, but whatever.
That she posted, it reiterates the same point and also states that she's the only female rapper in history to have all of her albums sell at least 200,000 copies the first week. Oh, and this was another one that she posted, that she is the first female rapper in history to have 25 songs simultaneously charting in the top 200 on US Apple Music. It seems that Nicki did not take kindly to this as she started tweeting out some really shady stuff. Now, the tweets I'm about to show you, they're gonna be out of order only because Nicki has since deleted all of these tweets. So I was just grabbing from like the screenshots I could find online. Although I promise y'all, you're not losing any context that they're not in order. These are the tweets that I believe started it. Nicki Minaj tweets out $4.99 in reference to Cardi B's album selling for $4.99 right now. And she says ABCDEFG rap like Barney still ugly. And this is a clear reference to Cardi B's song Magnet, in which she says ABCDEFG, these bitches can't fuck with me. And that lyric is a direct shot at like the Barbz, who often say that Cardi B is an ABCDEFG rapper, meaning her rhymes are like super simple. There's no technical ability to her raps and her rhymes. She calls Cardi B Barney B and then again tweets out ABCDEFG and says Cardi B has a heavy tongue. She continues ABCDEFG pregnant, play with his boy, you know what, which I think is in reference to these allegations against Stephon Diggs that have been floating around recently about
Dang.
him allegedly essaying a man. So I think that that's related to that. She also says ABCDEF.
Sorry, I was reading tweets ahead of time before she mentioned it. That's why I was like, oh, man.
Surgery to look like me, tell the rat and tell Jay-Z, Rico, fraud and perjury. Here are some more tweets. In this image, she obviously like photoshopped Barney's body and face to like an actual image of Cardi B on the red carpet. In this one, she says raw dogging pregnant with the fourth baby, Barney B, BV, like bacterial vaginosis, HPV, allegedly. Nicki continues, she says ABCDEFG.
You know what? I'm gonna take my statements back about Nicki Minaj now.
Fallen off the charts with a big belly, running trains, barefoot, still smelly, still you could not outsell me.
Dang. You know what? I think I might night Nicki now. Wow.
And she even tweets out ABCDEFG lied and said mom was Trini, obviously implying that Cardi B has lied about her mom being from Trinidad. Now, Cardi B was not one to hold back. She tweeted this out and said, nah, because I was really baking ribs and making blondie brownies, and here come this bitch bothering me on a damn Monday. And then she posted this photo of Nicki Minaj's actual brother, his mugshot in a pink wig. Now, if you did not know, Nicki Minaj's brother is in jail right now for essaying his 12-year-old stepdaughter. At the time of his conviction and sentencing in 2020, Nicki Minaj had...
Yeah, I remember that. Like, on one hand, it's kind of like one of those things you got to know when to cut off your family. This is because your blood don't mean your family. And that'll be one of those situations that... I don't think I would have defended my brother. And my brother was convicted of that. And a lot of times family knows which families are, into that creep stuff. I just wouldn't have supported it. That's just me personally, though. I just realized my camera's not on the whole entire time. There I am. All right, let's continue.
Written a letter to the judge saying that her brother was patient, gentle, genuine. She also said that the allegations were false and he was still sentenced to 25 years to life. Oh, and it's been reported that allegedly Nicki Minaj also paid for all of his legal fees throughout the entire trial. Anyway, let's continue. Cardi B says ABCDEFG, your man has to snatch, you know what? She tweets out a lyric from her song Magnet that says, tastes like honeycomb. And then she says, your bro be touching 12-year-olds. She also tweets out, damn, she was streaming Magnet hard as hell, huh? Now Cardi B continues. She says, you must have missed me, huh, crazy? Now kiss my feet. She says, nothing more annoying than a bored bitch. And then she says, the power I have. Make these bitches come out of rehab every time. Go.
At this point, it just got to fight. I'm not advocating for violence, but this is why men don't argue with women. Because women like to go cutthroat and below the belt. And a man couldn't do this to another man. I don't think we would have made it past the third tweet without us saying, okay, we got to see each other to fight this out. And sometimes I think that's what needs to happen. They needed to get into a boxing ring, like something safe. And just, slug it out and just leave it alone. Because all this right now is just, no.
To your fucking room. Now, Nicki Minaj has been on a hiatus from social media for the last month, maybe like month and a half. She hasn't posted anything. This is the first time she comes back to social media in all these weeks. So I think Cardi's insinuating here that she's been away at rehab. And she also says, white powdery substance Barbie. Now, Cardi B continues and says, why do you keep bringing up my album? It's not the gag that you think it is. You've been in the game like 16 years. You need to compare yourself to your peers that started around your time. Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Drake, those are the numbers you need to be competing with, and you can't because you're doing lower than all of them. I was in high school when you came out. What the fuck is you comparing yourself to me for? Then Cardi B ends it. She says, all right, now this is the third tweet talking about my pregnancy. Like, you wasn't going to different fertility doctors because you couldn't reproduce from all them perks scrambling your eggs. Not allegedly. Lord protect my babies. And that is just wild.
How would she know that? And she put in there not allegedly. So if Nicki comes out with some evidence and she gets sued, will she get Tasha Cade?
also wonder, how the fuck does Cardi B have everyone's tea like this? Because she was just talking about JT having abortions. Like, how does she have everybody's tea? Now, Nicki did leave a couple tweets up, and this is one of them. It's a photo of an eagle. Now, what I gathered from some of the responses is that she's kind of hitting back at Cardi B. Her album cover is like her with a bunch of crows. And according to some of these responses, eagles and crows have a very like sort of interesting dynamic where crows will try to defend their territory and provoke reactions from eagles by jumping on their back and like pecking at their neck. And instead of fighting back, the eagle will often just like soar higher into the sky. Like they'll fly higher, which causes the crow to fall off. Also, I think Nicki is implying that there's a little bit of a hierarchy here. We know eagles are super powerful, deadly predators, and crows are scavengers. They're a little bit more opportunistic, and they'll eat out of a garbage can if they have to. And this was another tweet that she left up. This was a repost from someone else where she says, despite false reports, Nicki Minaj is the only female rapper to have an album cross 200,000 units first week this decade. At this point, I don't even know who's telling the truth. Now, one other thing that caught a little bit of attention that people were laughing about was...
I don't even care who's telling the truth. These tweets are entertaining. I didn't know it was this deep.
JT inserting herself into the conversation. At one point, she tweets out, that bitch, she's talking about Cardi B, home ugly and mad, no celebration. I would have been breakdancing right now if I was number one, but she knows she lied. And a lot of people were just quoting the fact that she's like, if I was number one, they're like, yeah, that's obviously never gonna happen. You wouldn't know. But that's everything I have on this beef so far. I do wonder if the girlies are gonna keep going back and forth or not. And also, next up, I'm going to post the clip, the leaked audio clip of Cardi B on the phone with Ice Spice's manager threatening to beat the shit out of her. And calling Lotto a pussy. Like.
All right. Anyways, I'm pretty much done with this. I just want to make a brief video commentating on this. But you guys tell me what you think. At this point, they just need to go ahead and just throw hands, in my opinion. But like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.